Meeting come to order, please. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the annual meeting notice was sent to the press, the Down Beach Current, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, on the municipal website, and filed in the office of the city clerk. Would you please take a second, turn off all electronic equipment as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Johanna, call the roll, please.
Mayor Becker.
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo.
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg.
I am here.
It is at this time my pleasure to call up Brian Duffy, if he is. Today is the annual award of the Kevin O'Hara Memorial Scholarship.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you, everybody. This year we had the Margate. Nick, come on, Nick. Isabella Ritzel graduated from Ocean City High School. From Ocean City High School. He's going to go. All the awards here, you guys have all received a $1,000 scholarship on the Thank you, guys.
What, you can't, comes around in front of Scott?
At this point, we'll go right to department head reports, and we're going to start with Fred.
Didn't know that.
Thank you, Mayor. All is well in the technology field. The one big project I had going on was to run the fiber optic cable to connect our municipal buildings, and that is complete and will be in full operation as soon as 1 South is finished. That'll give us the ability to create an emergency management center here upstairs and access every facet of the city's technology from one location. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Jim?
The Blessed Sacrament School's down. There was some dust problems down there yesterday with the wind and the dry material. We had a nice rain, so now it's more wet, and they got a fire hose down there to keep the material down on the ground, and I hope to have them out of there by the end of the month, which will be next week. I think they're really motivated. It seems like the problem they had was the soffits were made out of a planking material, and as soon as they touched them, they exploded, and that's what caused a lot of the dust. But the contractor is moving forward quickly, and we had a lot of complaints yesterday, but we're busy.
Thanks, Jim. Roger?
Just to dovetail on that 1 second, as a trustee for the parish, I reached out to the chief of the fire department and asked if they could help out in some way to keep the dust down, and they were nice enough to lend the company a hose long enough to reach from the fire hydrant at Ventnor and Kenyon. So that did help, and I appreciate the help from the fire department, as does Holy Trinity Parish. Thank you.
Thank you again, Fred. Thank you, Tony. Roger?
Yes, the planning and zoning world is moving along smoothly. Lots of inspections are being called in every day. The number of applications are slowing down a little bit, but it's business as usual. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Johanna?
We had the primary election this past Tuesday. It went very well. I want to thank the fire department for assisting in a last-minute problem we ran into. They were very helpful. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Abbott?
Mayor, you know we have a couple of ordinances on our agenda for adoption. One will be that light ordinance, and I think, you know, that'll be a step in the right direction towards rectifying the problem. We are hopeful that the people who have these lights that disturb their neighbors will see the light and perhaps dim them down or accommodate their fellow neighbors in that entire neighborhood. If I know we're going to vote on this at 5 o'clock. Yes. But it's been a big effort to get this, and I appreciate Dark Sky's assistance with this, and also note that one of my favorite reporters wrote an article. I know it when I see it was left out there. It's a famous Supreme Court expression, but thank you for that article, because I do think if people realize we have this type of ordinance, maybe they'll come into compliance. We won't have to try to enforce it in court. So thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Scott. Rich?
I just want to say very briefly for the public that we talked on June 2nd about our continuing concerns with the drainage issues potentially on the beach as the result of any dune project to be conducted by the state and the federal government. We have talked internally and will be formally expressing our concerns to the appropriate parties within the next week, to include potentially the DEP, the Army Corps, and if needed and advised, the judge in the original case. Those of you who have access to Philly News or the Philadelphia Inquirer might pay attention over the next couple of days. We had a Philadelphia Inquirer reporter here today that took great interest in the concerns that Margate has about the drainage issues. They brought a photographer, spent an hour and a half here today, and I'm looking forward to an article expressing our concerns that would be reproduced publicly probably on Monday. This is not done for publicity reasons. We have legitimate concerns about the drainage issues that will be caused by the erection of dunes on our beach that prevents water from getting to the ocean itself because of the dunes. Get trapped between the bulkhead and the dunes. And some places only 20 feet. At the same time, they're proposing lowering portions of the beach as much as 3.5 to 4 feet. And that's going to cause a lot of extra expense for us for stairways to get access to the beach. So we want to assure the public that we're on top of this, and we want to express our concerns formally to the state and federal government as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Chief Wilson?
Everything's good in the police department, Mayor, so we're continuing on, gearing up for summer, and which I anticipate this weekend we'll probably bring down our first big crowd with schools letting out, and we're prepared to go through.
Thank you, Chief. Chief?
I'll dovetail right into what Dave said. It's also the same for the fire and beach patrol departments. Things have been very good, and we're ready to go for the summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Frank?
This morning, we got a call from the beach headquarters. They lost electricity. We went over and investigated. What happened was the meter box that the meter's in totally rusted out. So we contacted Atlantic Electric. They came to shut the electric off. We're going to change the box out and hook everything back up and get them back online. Next weekend is Beach Stock, and we're preparing for that. It's a big event, and we do assist them in a lot of different ways. We uncovered a mystery down on Essex and Atlantic Avenue. Me and Ed have been going back and forth for months now, trying to figure out why a sinkhole kept on forming. We videoed the sewer lines. We actually patched electrical concrete box that was next to it, and it was still losing sand. So we just went in there and started digging, and what we found was when they did the concrete work, they buried a sprinkler about 3 foot down in the ground, and it just kept on washing everything out. So we fixed the sprinkler, and ever since, the ground has been sturdy. And that's all I have.
Good job, Frank. Thank you. Ed?
Okay, the road program is essentially done. There's punch list items that are being completed. We are fielding requests from residents along the routes. If any issues they have, we're taking care of them. The 1 South Washington is moving along slowly, but moving along. The latest anticipated date is August 31st, so we'll see where that's at. The elevator work, though, is underway and is proceeding. The storm sewer on Lagoon Drive, we're going to do it's a new process to correct some issues with that pipe. That's going to happen on June 30th. It'll be a one-day event, and it'll be very non-disruptive. The back bay in front of Blue Water Marina, they poured the sidewalk and curb today, so hopefully they'll be out of there. The city is going to go and cut it out and repave the area so that we can open those parking spots up again. We have to contact on the other location. We have to contact the responsible parties, find out what the status is on those. And other than that, little things, we're just cleaning up little projects here and there. We did advertise the next road program today, so that'll be received sometime in July, and then we'll make a recommendation. We have advertised the storm sewer that runs parallel to the Thai school. We'll be receiving those bids in about a week, so that our intent is to try to get that storm sewer repaired while the school season is out, while the school's out. So that's moving along. We also will be going back out to bid for the painting of the exterior of the Gladstone Avenue Water Tower. What we're looking to do there to try to save some money is essentially, since we're power washing it and hand tool cleaning and then rolling the paint, we're going to look at localized containment. The last time we put it out, we did a full drape system for containment, and the problem is the bid came in for that item alone was $275,000. So we're going to attempt to do it the way we painted it the last time, with a localized containment to try to control the cost. That painting will happen sometime in October, after our demand season is over. I think that's it for now.
Thank you, Ed. Maury?
Nothing to report, Mike.
John?
Nothing to report.
Mayor, nothing to report. We'll open now for public comment, 3 minutes on any subject that was discussed today.
Don't be too hasty, Mayor. Don't be too hasty.
Quick finger today, John.
I understand. That's about the only thing that's functioning quickly. Sewell 22 West Drive, following up on the remarks of our city administrator, Mr. Deeney. We have squandered over $310,000, and from what I can gather from what Mr. Deeney has said, that we have garnered no benefits, and everything is up in the air. Up in the air. So far as the outflow pipes, so far as the stairwell treatments, so far as that critical key master jetty between Margate and Longport. Because if we don't have a jetty there, and we have to replenish those dunes, and the federal money happens to be lean and sparse in a given replenishment cycle, guess who's going to foot that bill? Me. And to get a buck out of me is a tough job. It's like getting blood out of a rock. But let us get down to the key thing here is this: you say it's the end of the legal battle. I beg to differ with you. We have a former assemblyman, a Republican assemblyman. He can't go up and see that supersized rhino in Trenton and get the DEP to do something constructive and productive for the citizens of Margate? I don't think you should slouch there. And Moishe here, what about approaching Lobiondo? The federal people can be approached. I think this is the beginning of the battle, not the end of the battle. And I think the political angle is a good angle. Lobiondo has a lot of clout in Washington. And I think that we should exercise every ounce of it. And it should be focused on getting a master jetty erected. I think that's the whole key. Because once Longport sees the enormous scalloping that our dear solicitor wanted to bring upon Margate back in the day, I think they will insist on a real master jetty at the end of Longport, on the southern end, or actually the western end of Longport. This should be initiated now. I don't think you guys should sit on your hands and sit on your brains. I think you should get out there and begin to lobby with a capital L-O-B-B-Y. Maybe we can get our former Margatian, Jack Abramoff. He's a specialist in K Street. He might throw you a bone when he's not cheating the Indians.
Anyone else? What do you say?
It's comical.
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. To add on to what John said, I have a lot of things that I'd like to speak about. I don't know if I can get them all out. First of all, this whole debacle with the dunes, okay? I warned the city, the commission about this 3 years ago. Nobody listened to me, of course. Well, maybe some people did. but specifically Mr. Blumberg, Commissioner Blumberg, chose to ignore my advice, okay? Cost the city over $310,000, and as Mr. Sewell said, we got nothing for it, okay? Nothing. Now, the citizens of Margate were misled with regards to the dunes, okay? And this anti-dune group who distorted the facts and talked about anything but the law, okay? And I think at this point, as Mr. Deeney said, there's a problem with drainage. There is possibly going to be a problem with drainage with the dunes. There's already a problem with drainage, okay? So this possibly the dunes are going to exacerbate the situation, very possibly. But let's be honest with the Corps and the DEP, what's going on here. This isn't like just something that the dunes are going to create. There's already a major problem in the beach block. Half of the blocks flood every time it rains, and it's possibly going to get worse. So that's a concern that I have that should be brought up and dealt with, hopefully. And as far as the access go, I'm sure that they're going to do a very good job with building the accesses, the DEP or whatever, the Army Corps. I've seen what they've done in Atlantic City, and it's really excellent. It's far superior to anything that's done in Margate. So I guess that's my main concerns here. But I think it's unfortunate that the city was so divided over an issue that was obviously we were going to lose, okay? And that was brought up, Mr. D brought that up before too. The only thing we won was we didn't get due process. Other than that, it was a loser. And it divided the city, and it's really a tragic the way that it divided the city. And I don't think just to say that it's over, that's enough. Okay, I really don't. And I don't think that's not going to be the end of it either, okay? That's number one. And number two, as far as the city hall goes, I talked about this 6 months ago, all right? This job is dragging on way, way too long. Now, I'm seriously considering calling the Division of Consumer Affairs to have the job investigated, because I think it's just, there's something wrong there. And that's very possibly what I'm going to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Johanna?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Is there a motion to adjourn the...
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Thank you all. We will reconvene at 5 o'clock.